What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another live stream. A little bit late, but you know, lateness is greatness. If the nightclub opens at 11, you turn up about 1 a.m., don't you? You've got to make an impact, but we're here, people. Big up to my co-host for the day, a.k.a. Dan Potts, football's 12th man. What's happening, bro?
I'm good, man. And people, it's me that was late. Sorry, I overrun. And I did warn C I might be a couple minutes late. And then, do you know what? It was rush around. But we're here. And big up for having me, man. It's great. And I appreciate you, man. So thanks for having me back on, man.
Nah, no worries, man. Big up on I'm reaching 35K as well, man. You're putting in the work.
Cheers, bro.
So good to see you getting the positive outcomes. And you know what? It's good that we can have a show for once on the back of a victory. You know, I said winning that game was like putting a plaster on a wound that is bleeding. It stopped the bleed, but we still need surgery in the summer, right? We need surgery in the summer, and that needs to be in terms of new signings. But we'll get into that. Big up to everyone in the chat. Do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe. Make sure you go and subscribe to Dan's channel as well. Link is in the title. He'll be going live at 4. So I'll redirect everybody over there at the end of this show. Where should we start, man? Do we start? You know what? Let's talk about the game first before, you know, as you can see in the title, people, the Kroenkes are putting their hands in our pockets again. But we'll start by talking about the game because that's the headline of the week. We spoke last week on your channel and, you know, I was saying I'll take a stinky 1-1, 0-0, get them back to the Emirates, beat them at home. 7-1. I know you was on the AFTV watch along. Just overall, and then we'll break down some of the individual performances. How did you view the game? How surprised were you? And were PSV poor, or were we really good, or was it a combination of the two? How did you see the game overall?
So what I've been a little bit peeved by, and it's mad coming from me and yourself because I'd say we're very honest and open about how we've been playing this season and the kind of disappointment that we've had at times. But I actually got a little bit frustrated by some of the rivals that were saying, oh, the only reason they did that is because PSV are poor. Now, we said that to score 7 in 8 shots. Arsenal were good.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong, PSV defended terribly in parts, and you could probably say that it's a bit of both. But I've seen worse teams we played up against that we haven't beat. And I've seen teams come up against us where we've drew 0-0 and you think, how? And we absolutely blitzed them. And you know what? It was good to see that we didn't actually just keep it at the 2 or 3 and try and then allow ourselves to actually have a game in the second leg. I'm quite comfortable and I don't care about the fact that we have paid for my ticket for PSV at home and we're pretty much through and now it's a social, because I'd much rather be in that position, Curtis, where we go into that game now relaxed, not thinking, oh my God, this could be a horrible, stinky game where we're going to potentially take it to penalties or it could go really wrong for us. I don't think it's going to happen. So for me, we're comfortably through now, and it's a matter of what happens next out of the 2 Madrids. So I think that we did 100% deserve it, and I think we deserve the praise. And there's definitely individuals that we'll come on to for sure. What I will say lastly about the game is I was expecting it to be a hell of a lot closer and less high scoring. The most prediction I heard was a 3-1 victory. I heard a lot of people saying 0-0, 1-1, 1-0 to PSV. I predicted a stinky 1-0 or a 0-0. So we can't then say, well, it's only PSV, but we put 7 past them like some of these rivals are doing. I don't think that's fair. Yeah. You know, when the rivals themselves are saying, oh, this could be tricky for Arsenal. They might be going out. This is going to be funny. And then it's 7-1. It's like, oh, well, it was only PSV. Well, why did you predict us to lose them? Why did you think we'd draw? If you thought it was easy and it's only PSV, why weren't you saying 4-0 Arsenal? So I think we've got to be fair to Arsenal here. I think we've got to say that actually there's a opportunity for us to look at this realistically and say there's a lot of positives to take from that game. And lastly, I'll praise Mikel Arteta, which is something I haven't done a lot of times this season, because actually he found a way. And if he wasn't going to change the personnel and he wasn't going to change the formation and he stuck with that 11, you've got to praise him to say, well, that 11 against West Ham and Forest couldn't put 1 goal in, let alone 7. So he found a way. Now, a lot of people are saying it's because PSV will come at us and allowed us to have that space. And I think some of that was probably true. But actually, for me, when you actually do get that opportunity to go and blitz a team and finish them off, that's what we did. So the players and manager deserve a hell of a lot of praise and credit. And I haven't really heard that enough, if I'm honest, perhaps. So, yeah, that was my thoughts of it, bro, in general.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. Like, people were saying PSV are going to beat us. And then when we batter them, they say it's only PSV. That doesn't make sense, does it? Like, if they're good, you think they're good enough to beat us. When we batter them, you've got to give us our credit. What I will say with PSV is I thought they were very naive in how they played tactically. They were just wide open. But what I loved about the performance was at half-time, I was sitting there going, 3-1, you know, if this game finished 3-1, you're still coming back to the Emirates having to handle business. I love the fact they went and scored another 4 goals and said, listen, finished. Book your flights to Madrid. That second game, like I said, we'll go into some individual performances, but I just want to ask you, in that second game, how many changes would you make? Because I said probably I would change half the team, the players that I think are sort of in that red zone, your Timbers, Saliba, Rice. Obviously, if you make too many changes, you take the risk of maybe losing the game. But does it even matter if we lose that game 2-1? Or how many changes would you make for that game?
So Raya starts in goal for me. Ben White plays at right back. Timber needs a rest. I'd probably play Kivior alongside Calafiori, left-sided centre-back, because they get both of Gabriel and Saliba rested. And then left back would probably be Tierney, if I'm honest with you. In midfield, Jorginho and Marino can be that kind of 6 and 8. And then I think Ødegaard should remain. I think Ødegaard right now, I need to see another performance like that, because I was quite impressed with his performance, particularly in the second half. For in the first half, he was pretty sloppy as it goes, but I thought the second half, he really come forward. And the front line, you can't do much, but I would play Raheem Sterling. I probably would play Ethan, because he's just too good not to. And then probably go with Trossard, of course, in there as well. So that's probably where I'm at in terms of it. So, but to answer your question, quite a few changes, because I do feel that you've got to look at this and say, oh my God, he's made so many changes. What, so you think we're going to lose 6-0? Like, let's be real. That team should not be losing still, in my opinion, at home with that team I've selected out there, let alone lose by 6. So I think personally, we've got to be looking at that. I would like, I'll put it this way. I would actually rather majority of our defense be rested than I would our rest of our front line, because the front line at the moment, we can't really say it's played too much, because they're all playing backups because they're playing because everyone else is injured. Defense wise, Gabriel, Saliba and Timber, I need to see them rested, those 3 in particular, because they've played an unbelievable amount of games. And now that we've got Ben White, Calafiori, Zinchenko, Tierney, all of these guys fit, Kivior, when are they going to play if they don't play in that game? You know, because you're not going to start them at Old Trafford. You're not going to play them at Chelsea at home or at Fulham at home. So I think it's time to actually look at that now and say, let's get this right. Let's actually change it. I wouldn't bother with Raya and Neto, because this Neto guy is a clown, if I'm honest. He looks absolutely terrible. The last time he played, it was embarrassing, weren't it? So Raya doesn't need a break, but I think the last back line definitely do. Let's give some of these players a rest now, because we can't get any more injuries, Curtis. People will say we can't get any more injuries to the front line. No, we can't get any more injuries at all. Like, let's just be real. We can't. We've got our opportunity to go against one of the Madrid sides. Only Havertz is the player missing. So if it gets to that, you know, that's at the moment. If we get to that game and it's like, oh, now Timber and Saliba have gone down because we played them too much, I won't forgive him. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm hoping. I hope he doesn't play the strongest side in the second leg, because that would just be a complete waste for me doing that.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I would make changes. Just definitely the ones that, you know, Rice has had a broken toe. Timber definitely needs a break. I suppose the only thing I would say in the attack is, we don't have a lot of options in attack. So if an Ethan or somebody did get a knock, you know, that could be a problem. But yeah, listen, I think we've got that cushion now. I don't think the fans would mind if we didn't, you know, get a big victory or it was a draw or something, as long as we get through. So yeah, I think we're all good in that sense. Just to break down some of the individual performances in that game. And I won't go on about too many because we'll be harping on. There was a lot of good performances. You mentioned Ødegaard there, which I rate Ødegaard very highly as a player, but he's one of the most frustrating players for me, because I almost expect more from him because of how talented he is. And I was sitting there at half time going, I don't think he's playing well again. He's giving the ball away. Second half, he was brilliant. He scored 2 goals. One's a tap-in, the other one's a good shot. Keeper maybe should have done better. The ball for Calafiori is unbelievable. Where are you at with Odegaard? Because I said yesterday that I want Odegaard's mentality to be, I want to be one of the best attacking midfielders in world football. I expect him to have that mentality. I don't want him to just be part of the Arsenal team and I play the odd nice little pass and flick and things like that. I want him to want to be Kevin De Bruyne or whoever we view as the best attacking midfielder. Where are you at with Odegaard, and how big an impact do you think that performance can have on him for the rest of the season?
I think he's been one of the most disappointing players for Arsenal this season. And I don't even think I'm being harsh. I think I'm just speaking facts when I say that. He's been disappointing. His numbers have not been there. His goals and assists is what actually for me, changed my opinion of him over the last couple of seasons. Because I always rated him, but I never put him in the bracket of those world-class or elite number 10s or attacking 8s that people say he is. And his numbers proved that he was right up there with the best a couple of seasons ago. 15 goals, a similar amount of assists over all competitions. It was wonderful, to be honest. And he's great to watch technically. I agree with you wholeheartedly when you say that he's frustrating. Because actually against PSV in the second half, he started to shoot. And look what happened. He scored a couple of goals. He is one of the most incredibly frustrating, allergic to shooting players that I've met and that I've watched. Because when I look at him, I think you've cut inside. You've got a great opportunity. There's no way Phil Foden or Kevin De Bruyne or Jude Bellingham aren't shooting, but you're deciding not to. There's no way Mesut Ozil or Santi Cazorla or Fabregas get into the positions he does and refuse not to, although maybe Ozil might have a couple of times, right?
Yeah.
But Odegaard, for me, is the one that I look at and think, yeah, actually, that's the part of your game that you need to now improve is scoring. Assisting is normally okay, to be fair to him. His goal scoring is something that is letting him down. So now that he's starting to shoot against PSV, hopefully that'll give him the confidence to go through. The only thing I would doubt about Martin Odegaard is that I truly thought it was a bad decision giving him the captaincy because I didn't see him as a leader in the dressing room. Now, I know that most people are talking about captains going a different way in this modern day football. And it's not always the loudest that gets the armband. It's not always the one barking orders. But I do sometimes look at it and I think on the pitch, to me, Gabriel is a captain. Declan Rice is a captain. I'd probably go as far as saying that there's other options in that team that look like they are. Saka, I think, probably looks more of a captain than Martin Odegaard. Odegaard's an introvert. Odegaard's wonderful to watch, but I don't ever see him sticking up for players. I don't even see him running up to the referee. I see him leading the press, and I see him trying to be a role model in the dressing room. And I think that when you look at everything he replicates as an Arsenal footballer that Mikel Arteta wants, I think that's probably the reason why he's wearing the armband. But for me, I would have 100% given it to Gabriel and then Declan Rice as vice captain. And a lot of people talk about this leadership group and why there's 5 captains and how they didn't like that. The reason I wasn't massively against that, the only thing I was against about it was there was not one captain. It was like, we've got 5. Well, we haven't, have you? You got a captain and you've got leaders in the dressing room. You naturally have that, right? Naturally have that. For me, I do believe that there are some leaders that are starting to show in this Arsenal team. Now, I don't know if they've got the mentality yet to get us across the line, but I think Gabriel, Saliba, Ben White, Julian Timber, Saka, Rice, have all shown leadership qualities within the team. It's not the leadership qualities of a Vieira or Adams. We ain't got players like that, right? Yeah. But they're young. They're starting to show that they actually can stick up for themselves. They're towering over people in tunnels. They're showing a little bit about them. And that's something that we've definitely brought in, and Arteta has instilled. The only thing I find very strange is that those players that are towering over, the one that isn't towering over is Martin Odegaard, and he's the one with the armband. So it does seem a bit strange for me. I wanted Kieran Tierney as captain, but little did I know at the time that Mikel Arteta didn't have him in his plans. So I wasn't really crying about it because I felt like, he's not wanted. He's not picked him, not because he's not a good captain or leader, because he doesn't see him in the future. And I do always say and stand by, I don't want to go back to the days where Arteta's our captain sitting on a bench, or Vermaelen's sitting on a bench as captain, or even Mertesacker's on the bench as captain. I want to see the player who is playing every single game and is leading us as the captain. And I think there's been times where most of the players after Vieira, it was right. The best player gets the captain's armband. Oh, the leader does, but it's the leader of the dressing room, not the leader on the 11. And in the squad, he's sitting on the bench most of the time. Now, I actually do see that we've got some leaders in there that actually could have the armband, and fair play to them, they deserve it. So, I don't really know why the likes of Odegaard and Jesus have had the captain's armband over some of the others, but I like the fact that Gabriel and Saliba and Timber and White and Rice and even Saka when he plays are all looking now that they've got some leadership qualities in this side. So that's where I'm at with Martin Odegaard. I don't question so much his decision, because obviously it's Mikel Arteta's, but I need to see him step up now. And you know, in 4 or 5 years, I can't count on one hand the amount of times that he's carried us across the line, or that he's the decision maker for winning this game, or that he's beaten Inter Milan on his own, or that the reason we actually got through that massive tie was because of Martin Odegaard dragging us across the line with his technical ability or his leadership qualities. And that's what I need to start seeing from Martin Odegaard if he's going to be the future captain of Arsenal and the future attacking midfielder. So that's what I'd say about him.
Yeah, no, listen, I think there's no doubt in his talent. I was looking there. I mean, 2 years ago, 15 league goals, 7 assists, 22 GA. Last season, 8 goals, 10 assists, 18 GA. Not that I like to judge players off this, but obviously it does count. This season, 2 goals, 3 assists in the Premier League, 5 GA. Now, obviously, he was injured for 7 weeks, and there is still 11 games to go, so that can go up. But his numbers are down quite significantly. As you were saying there in terms of captains, I would say Gabriel, Jorginho, and Declan Rice are all much more suited to that leadership role. Obviously, Jorginho is a squad player, but I actually think Gabriel would probably still shout at Odegaard anyway, even without the armband. I mean, he was going crazy at Lewis Skelly during the game and stuff like that. So we have to hope maybe that we get leaders even without the armband. I just think Arteta probably loves Odegaard's character, but doesn't necessarily suit being captain, in my opinion. Big up to everyone locked in, 1,500 of you. Make sure you like the video and subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to Dan. His link's in the title as well. And we'll be redirecting to him. He's live at 4. We have to talk about these two. I mean, the story coming out today that they're going to be called up to England under 21s, that maybe they're not going to rush them into the full national team, which I don't mind, to be honest. You know, maybe don't put as much pressure on their shoulders, but it was an interesting night for both players. Lewis Skelly had a great moment with the assist and a very lucky moment where he could have got sent off. It could have been a very different night. Nwaneri just seems to be going from strength to strength. I mean, I heard Joe Cole, your mate Joe Cole, saying that Nwaneri, along with Lamine Yamal, is the most exciting teenager in Europe, he said.
Wow.
I've said many times, me and you have spoke about it, I think he's the most exciting player to watch in Arsenal's team at the moment. What did you make of the evening for both of them? I mean, Skelly, I thought the ref let him off with the second one because the first yellow card was quite soft, which I think is actually good refereeing. But if you're on the receiving end of that, you'd be very angry about it. Nwaneri, another goal, most dribbles completed on the pitch. He was just a joy to watch. What did you make of these two against PSV?
Listen, it's my 2 favourite players this season. I think Gabriel's probably been the best. I think Partey's probably been right up there, but these 2 are my favourite 2 this season. They're the shining lights. They're the positives. We've got 2 gems. And let's start with Lewis Skelly, because I agree with you. I thought he was particularly lucky not to get sent off. I thought it was quite rash to do that whilst you're on a yellow card. Albeit the first one was soft, but when you get it and you know you're on a yellow, you've got to be careful, and he hasn't been, right? And I do think there's definitely a conversation to be had with him by one of the role models in the dressing room, or maybe the manager alongside that role model, to say, look, you got bite. I love your attitude. Don't change it. You know what it's like to play for the club. You've got the culture and the blood inside you of Arsenal. However, you do need to be careful because you're collecting 52 cards pick up here. I mean, crikey, he's got how many bloody reds has he got already? And he's got yellows as well galore, right? So we do have to be careful with Miles Lewis Skelly. But I want to address something with Miles, because I don't know where I see him at the moment in the future. I don't know if I see him as a left 8 or if I see him as a left back. I think he can play both, right? But what I'll say at the moment is, just as a left back, I think it's been underappreciated how well he's played there, because he's not naturally a left back. He's come in and he's literally put a 40 million international England defender on the bench. He's definitely got ahead of the likes of Zinchenko and Kieran Tierney, also along the side of Kivior. Tommy Asu's been injured, but even Timber, when fit, he's still opted to go with Lewis Skelly. I look at the fact that at 18 years old, we've got something coming through that looks better than Ashley Cole did at 18 at left back. Now, Ashley Cole at 18 wasn't playing at left back. He was 19, 20. So is he better than Ashley Cole? Absolutely not, right? But is he better than Ashley Cole was like at 18? I think he is, you know, Curtis. Now, I don't know if he's going to go on to have half the career that Ashley Cole did, right? I hope that he does, and it's brilliant, and it's exactly the same replica for Arsenal, right? But I look at what I can do is I can only compare him to players that have come through the system that have shone. Now, I can compare him to a Maitland-Niles if you want, or a Joe Willock, or a Chubarak Pom. But for me, this kid looks more special than those. And I knew they'd make it in football, but I didn't really have the confidence they were going to make it at Arsenal, right? I've got the confidence that Miles Lewis-Skelly's going to make it at Arsenal. And if I'm honest with you, I do believe that one day he could be our left 8, or he could actually just stay at left back and be phenomenal there, because that's what he's been, in my opinion. I love the confidence. I love the fearlessness. I love the fact that he's composed on the ball and that he's quite calm. The way he drives and drifts through players is quite good to watch. He kind of waltzes across the pitch, and he's got a good pass on him. He's got vision. I love the fact that he has the passion and desire and drive, and that little bit of bite and that little bit of shithousery. I think if it is actually matured correctly, could be perfect for what we need in that team. And then we move to Ethan, who I think has been phenomenal, mate. I'm running out of superlatives how good this kid is. At 17 years old, we've just been speaking about our captain and our attacking midfielder that isn't scoring. Well, this guy's now got 8 goals in 3 competitions. He scored 3 in the Carabao Cup, and everyone said it's only Bolton and Preston, calm down. Then he went and delivered in Premier League games, coming off the bench, lighting up the Emirates, and then started to get on the score sheet once Saka was injured. Mikel Arteta made a huge mistake not playing him whilst Odegaard was injured, in my opinion. Where could he be right now? This kid at 17 is doing much more than what Saka did at that age. He's doing much more than what Jack Wilshere did at that age. And Aaron Ramsey is doing so much more than what anybody has done other than Cesc Fabregas in this team. And Cesc Fabregas was surrounded by invincibles, by the way. Yeah. This kid is not. I don't think we appreciate, again, what this kid's doing. It is ridiculous, mate. The level of consistency he's shown in every single game, other than the West Ham game where he wasn't great, and the Newcastle game where he wasn't great, the whole team wasn't. The only 2 games where I've seen him be pretty average. Every other game he's lit up. Whether he's scored, whether he's assisted, whether he's created, whether he's driven us forward, whether he's made something happen, whether he's been on the end of deliveries, where he's been taking deliveries. The guy is an absolute machine. And every time, Curtis, he cuts in on that right-hand side of his left foot, I think this is either going top bins or is going in the on target. He can take corners. He can deliver in crosses. I think he should take our set pieces from now on. I think he's that good. And I'll tell you this now. If Saka comes back, I ain't dropping this kid. There's no way.
No chance.
I mean, whether you put him in the attacking 8, whether you play him through the middle, which is probably my preferred option. For me right now, this kid stays in this team. He has been phenomenal. Just like Miles Lewis-Skelly stays at left back, this kid stays in this team. He has been the bright spark for us right now in a time when we needed something. And it's just quite ironic, isn't it, that when times have been tough for Mikel Arteta, he's turned to the youth again. This happened a few seasons ago with Saka, Martinelli and Smith Rowe that all come through together. These 2 have come through together. And if I'm honest with you, I'm more excited with these 2 than I was with those 3. Because I think these 2 will be better than Martinelli and Smith Rowe. I've got to say it now. And if I'm honest with you, I might sound hypocritical here. I wouldn't actually care if we give them the number 3 and the number 10 shirt. That's how much faith I have in these 2, whereas I did with the other 2 kids, right? So that shows you what level I am at with these 2 kids. I think they'll make it into this squad, and I think they'll comfortably make it in the first team at Arsenal. They're that good. I've been so impressed. And do you know what, lastly? Rival fans are quiet about these 2.
Yeah. They know.
Hear it. They know. They're not like, oh, Arsenal fans, they've got this Joe Willock and Reece Nelson. They're getting hyped up and excited about. No. No one's talking about this. They're like, wow, Man City fans are like, shit, this kid's just put us on our backside. And Nwaneri's being top binning them in every single game. What's happening here? Like, something's going on. So they know, man. Look, for me, if Saka is to come back into the right-hand side and Martinelli plays on the left, you could put Trossard in the middle. If you wanted to put Marino up top, you could. But I would be playing one of 2 things. I'd either be putting Ethan Nwaneri in the 10 and dropping Odegaard into the 8, or I'll be putting Ethan Nwaneri through the middle and keeping the midfield how it is. Because Ethan Nwaneri right now needs to be playing in that team. And if we do get one of the Madrids, which I'm sure we'll come on to, we're going into that game with our best goalkeeper, our best back 4, our trio in midfield people talk about, Saka and Martinelli, and then Nwaneri instead of Havertz. So now, that fills me with a lot more confidence than it has done in the last few weeks, man. So they deserve all the plaudits they get. And if they get called up to the England first team or under 21s, normally I'd be nervous about injuries, but you know what? They deserve it because they're now doing what they did together in the youth system. They're doing it combined in the Carabao Cup, the Premier League, the Champions League, which is now the youngest combined goal in history, by the way, in the Champions League. And if they can go and do it for England together, fair play to them, because I love the pair of them, man. It's class.
Do you know what? You've nailed it there, and there's a few points I just want to make quickly about them too. I think Lewis Skelly deserves a lot of credit for this season because he's had it hasn't been plain sailing for him. You know, the whole Haaland thing caused a uproar in the English media. He's not a natural left back. You know, he's a centre mid. And like you said, he's keeping Tierney, Zinchenko, Kivior, and Calafiori all out of the team.
Yeah.
And that's not even his natural position. And listen, for my advice to Lewis Skelly, I don't want Arsenal to take that aggression out of him. That aggression, I think, is what is going to make him the player that he becomes. You've just got to harness it and control it a little bit. You know, I want Odegaard or Gabriel or somebody, once he gets that first booking, to go and grab him and say, listen, you're on a yellow. Don't put no stupid challenges in. It's a Champions League knockout game. Now, maybe somebody did say that to him and he still maybe did it anyway. But I think he still deserves a lot of credit because Calafiori was struggling in that left-back position and he's done really well. Nwaneri, listen, we know he looks like he can become a superstar, but we've just got to allow him to flourish and hope that Arteta doesn't try and turn him into a system-based winger. Just let him play with freedom. I think you're spot on there, South London finest. Mertesacker. I mean, he's harnessed these two guys out of the under-23s, Chido Obi, Heaven, who both left. So
Max Dowman as well, the next one.
Max Dowman, the next one. So, yeah, fair play. I wasn't the biggest Mertesacker fan when he was a player, I'll be honest, but at least he's producing some good youngsters out of the academy moving forward. And you know what? Those two have probably saved us about 100 million, to be honest, because if you think you don't need a left back now in the summer, that saved you 30, 40 million. And Nwaneri, I want to ask you this question before we move on. I want the community to get involved in this as well. At the beginning of next season, bear in mind we don't know who we're going to sign at the moment, but is Lewis Skelly your starting left back for Arsenal next season? Or are you still thinking, I wouldn't mind getting a specialist there? And then in terms of Nwaneri, let's just assume Saka's back, he's fit, he's on the right, he's obviously going to probably play there. Do you, like you said, do you put Nwaneri in the 10 and drop Odegaard to the 8? Do you play him on the left? How do you get those two in this team? How would you move forward next season with those two?
So without any signings to add into this, because that's a different question, my starting 11 when everyone's fit next season as things stand would be Raya in goal, Timber at right back, Saliba and Gabriel, Miles Lewis Skelly at left back. I play Rice, Odegaard in the 8, Nwaneri in the 10, Saka right, Martinelli left, and then obviously Havertz up top. But by that time in the summer, you'd like to think that we've got a striker and a left winger.
Yeah, I hope so.
Into that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's what I'll be doing. I don't think that will be the starting 11 because I imagine we're signing players, or I hope the touch will be signing players. However, the only thing that could throw that is if the Zubimendi comes in, because I think Zubimendi and Rice are going to be set into that midfield that will then ask the question, where does Ethan go? However, it's a good thing as well. I don't really want Lewis Skelly and Ethan to be guaranteed at 17, 18 first team places. I want them to fight and have competition for it. I want there to be games where they start, games where they can actually rotate. And it should be like that in every single competition. Otherwise, you get scenarios like Saka, where you play for 4 seasons running, right? But right now, they're the two positions that I look at potentially. Lewis Skelly, I think 100% left back. If they believe in the future he can be a left 8, then absolutely, it looks like he's got the attributes to do that. But right now, Odegaard would be the guy that I use as the attacking 8, and then have the obviously attacking 10 as Nwaneri, who I think alongside Saka would be very, very interesting on that right hand side, wouldn't it? To have them two running at you, wow, what would you do as a kind of opposition? You'd have a lot of trouble there. You'd have to watch both of them. So I think it could be perfect, to be honest. That's what I would say. Of course, there's opportunities for him to play down the middle. I think he did that as a bit of a youngster growing up as well. But I actually quite like him on that right wing. And I don't know if people want to hear this or not. But I know.
Go on.
Do you know what I mean? I don't think we're going to sign a right winger to back up Saka next season now. I think it's going to be one area.
We probably don't need to, do we? To be honest. I would say we need the left.
We get the others positions. We don't. If you're looking at, for me, I would go and buy Brian and Puemo or somebody like that, right?
Would you?
But if you said to me, we're going to use Ethan, and that's why we're going to buy XYZ. If we do nothing but a striker, I'll be like, why have we not got cover still? Because Ethan is literally that guy. So if we was to have Erdegaard and Saka out of the team, what do we do then? Because Ethan's got to try and play right wing or middle. So we're going to have to use potentially Trossard on the right again. So I think it depends what we do in the other positions. I'm expecting us to buy one wide forward and one attacker. So that might still be enough, because then you'd have Waneri and Saka, Martinelli and the new left winger, and then potentially Sesko, I think it's going to be, and Kai Havertz as the striker.
Probably.
Yeah. So then Waneri can come into the middle for Erdegaard if need be there. But that's what I'm expecting the summer to be, if I'm honest. A winger and a I don't think we're going to get an attacking midfielder or a right winger. I really don't.
And you know what? For me, I actually think, I mean, you're saying, and Bremo, I mean, his numbers speak for themselves. I think we need the attacking midfielder, because I think Odegaard knows he can do anything and nothing's going to change. Who are you going to bring in? I would love to see Arsenal go and buy Eze or somebody that can just Verts or Musiala. I know we're probably not getting those guys, but I think now, do you know what? The interesting thing is, Waneri looks better on the right than when he's played attacking midfield, because he's isolating defenders. And when he gets you 1v1, every time he got Malacia 1v1 the other night, I said, you're cooked, mate. You're done. He drops that little step over, shifts it away. His acceleration's crazy. I actually think sometimes in the middle of the pitch, I've seen him try and go on them runs, and it's a lot more crowded in there, and he gets, he can lose the ball. So I don't really think, because you got to think Arsenal never get everything they need in one window. So I think we've got to really prioritize now and say we need the striker, we need the left winger. We probably need at least one centre midfielder if Jorginho and Partey go. But I think we need that attacking midfielder, man, because Fabio Vieira's gone. He wasn't good enough. Smith Rowe's gone. Odegaard's got no competition, really. I don't want to see Havertz dropping into that role, or Fabio Vieira comes back off loan, and I think you've got to go and get an Eze or someone. But when you add it up then with what you think we need in the summer, how many players do you think we need? And if you've got any names in them positions, because I'm trying to put a figure out there of how much I think we need to spend, because I think we need to spend over 200 million, definitely.
Yeah, 100%, bro. Let me give you the summer I expect, and let me give you the summer that I think we need. That's probably the best way.
These will be two very different lists,
unfortunately, they will be. Unfortunately, they will be.
Yeah.
Let me give you what I think realistically will happen, because I think that's probably what we should go with, and then what I think we need, I'll go with afterwards. I think we're going to get John Garcia in goal. That's around about 22, 25 million pounds, backup goalkeeper, right? Whatever. That's what we want. Cool. I think we're going to bring in Zubamendi, because people keep talking about it like it's a dumb deal. That's about 55 million. So we just spent, 80 million on two positions there. I think we're going to get Nico Williams if he wants to come. If not, it'll be Cunha. It'll be somebody like that, which is around about the same money, 50 to 60 million. And then up top, I think it's going to be Sesko. I think that's going to be it.
You think so?
I think that's going to be it. 4 players. I don't think we're going to get any more centre-backs or left-backs, because I feel like although Zinchenko, Tierney and Kivior could go, I think he's going to try and keep it as we'll have left-backs of Lewis Skelly and Calafiori. Our left-back cover will be Calafiori, who can play there for Gabriel if he's injured. Saliba will have Ben White and Timber, and Tomiyasu if he ever comes back from injury. And then obviously at right-back, Ben White and Timber. So therefore, I think we will actually look to have 4 players coming in. Unfortunately, that's not enough, Curtis, if I'm honest.
No.
And if I'm honest with you, I don't think it's anywhere near enough. So I actually do believe we need another centre back, which is a crazy thing to talk about. But if we are going to get rid of Kivior, Zinchenko and Tierney, we haven't really got any cover. We're basically using the fullbacks as our centre back cover. And that's a risky thing to do. I know Man City do it, but it is quite a risk to do, personally. Yeah. I think what we need to look at for next season is 25 players. And I think we need to have an 11. I think we need to have a backup 11, as in 2 players per position. And I think to add to your 22 players there, you need 3 players that are versatile, 1 that can play across the back line, 1 that can play in the midfield, and 1 that can go across the front 3. That's what I would look to do. Now, some people will say that Tomiyasu and Jesus are going to be those 2 versatile players, and I'd go along with that. They're going to be injured, but that's fine by me. If you had 25 players, you need 23 more on top of those 2, right? Basically, because those 2 are just a disaster when it comes to injuries, aren't they? Right?
Yeah.
So if you want to use Jesus and Waneri and what's her name, Tomiyasu as your 3 versatile players. That's cool. That means you need the 23 more. So if you're going to go and buy Garcia, that means you've got Raya and Garcia. Then you've got Ben White and Timber right back, left back Calafiori and Lewis Skelly, and then you've got Gabriel and Saliba, which means you could potentially need 1, if not 2, centre backs. But 1 would probably be fine to just come in and cover for Tkivio, right? Then in midfield, and I don't know who that is. Maybe you go and get a Jorel Harto from Ajax, who sounds like he's on his way to Liverpool, to be honest. But maybe you get somebody like that who can come in and be cover, right? Then you look at Zubamendi and Partey as the kind of 6s, because that's what I believe that we will have. Partey will probably be signing that new 1-year deal if we believe that to be true. If not, it will be Rice and Zubamendi. And that means you need a number 8. What I would like to see is somebody like Reinders or Morgan Rogers coming into that role. That's going to cost a lot of money, though, right? You've obviously got Marino that's going to be there as well in the 8. I'm not so sure if he is an 8, but, we're playing him there as cover and backup. And then you've got Waneri to back up Ødegaard in the 10. Now, I'd like to see us go and get somebody there, but I don't see that that's going to be realistic. I just don't think we're going to do that. I'd love a Florian Wirtz. Again, it's going to cost you an unbelievable amount of money. Right wing cover, if it is Waneri and we're not going to get a Mbeumo or Kudus, then fair play, you look towards the other side. And the left wing option, you've got Martinelli and the new one that we sign. Up top, for me, it would be Isak. If it's not Isak and he's too unrealistic or doesn't want to leave, it's Victor Gyökeres. If Victor Gyökeres is not available or is not the guy, people don't like me for saying it, but I'm going to say it. Harry Kane would be my third choice. Yeah, he would be. 54 million release clause, 32 years old, guaranteed 20 to 30 goals a season. I would take that over a Benjamin Sesko, which would then be my 4th choice who's available. So that's the summer that I think I want. I want an Isak. I wanted Kvaratskhelia. You saw last night how quality he was. When that didn't happen,
joke, he's an absolute joke.
He is so good. On the left-hand side, for me, my one after that would probably be Lookman or Cunha. If not, then Williams. Morgan Rogers and Reinders are the 2 that I'd look at in that box-to-box 8 role. Florian Wirtz is my dream at 10. And then, obviously, if we were looking at a winger, Brian and Boyle, I'm not getting all of these, by the way. I'm looking at what options I would take if there was any options towards that position. And then at the back, I've mentioned a couple of players, but if I'm honest with you, I'm not too sure how many more defenders we're going to buy before Arteta completes.
Before he finally got enough.
33 squad of defenders, you know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at, man. So what I expect is a goalkeeper in Juan Garcia. I expect Zubamendi, I expect Nico Williams, and I expect Sesko, and I think that will be our summer done. On top of those names, I would like to see Isak over Sesko, but I understand Sesko is more realistic. I'd love to see us sign a Florian Wirtz to take us to that next level, but I appreciate we'll probably keep Ethan and Ødegaard and Rice and Marino. And then I'd love to see a Morgan Rogers coming, because I just think he's an absolute baller. But that's going to cost you about £60 million. It probably more. So that's going to be a madness as well. So that's kind of where I'm at, Curtis. It's a bit I've kind of waffled through it there, but that's kind of where I'm at with it, bro.
No, I get you, bro. With Arsenal transfers, it's always complicated. Just a couple of things there. Number 1, Cunha, not sure Arteta goes near him now. I mean, he's seen this ban he could be getting. He's sent off twice, grabbing coaches around the neck. He'd probably have Arteta in a headlock, but I do like Cunha as a player. By the way, though, man, Kvaratskhelia, bro, how the hell did we not make a move for that guy? I mean, I genuinely, and I know you've said it as well, because I watch your content, like, at the start of the season, I was like, if this guy ever becomes available, please, Arteta, go and get him. Well, I was thinking at the time, you're going to pay 90 to 100 million for him. He's that good.
Yeah,
you get an opportunity to get him for 60 mil. Now, who knows? Maybe his heart was set on PSG, but he's ridiculous. Like last night, he was unplayable. I mean, if it weren't for Alisson in goal, who turned into Spider-Man, they would have won 3 or 4-0 last night. And Dembele on the other side, just playing like an old school winger, nutmegging people. I'm jumping around the front room because we don't see that anymore, like from these wingers. But Kvara, man, I just can't believe we didn't go in for him.
It's going to be one of the biggest regrets, I think, from a fan's perspective. Whether or not it was a guy Arteta looked at, didn't want, or whether he was just someone that wasn't on our radar. That performance last night, albeit PSG didn't go through, he looks ridiculously good for a young age. And I can't believe that we've got a stage where you go, right, that's going to be a £120 million player. And they go, nah, 50% off, mate, 63 million. And we're going, Nah, you're right. I think we'll try and get the best out of Martinelli and Trossard still. Like, what's happening here, man? Or no, we want
Do
Nico Williams. Come on,
you
man.
know what's crazy, Dan, right? Is like Oba left in 2021. And let's face it, right? Strikers are, listen, every position on the pitch is important, but your striker's imperative. Like, they can be the difference. It's difficult. I don't want to completely write Sesko off because, you know, Isak's numbers weren't great when he left Spain. Now we'd pay 120 million for him. But I don't get the hype around this guy. And the worst thing is that there's strikers better than him who are available on the market. If the market was completely dead and you thought, I'll just take a chance on Sesko, I'll go, I get it. But Isak is one of the best strikers probably in Europe, world football at the moment. Now, you're going to have to break the bank to get him, but he plays for Newcastle. No disrespect. There's a level or two above Newcastle. He would want to leave if certain offers were on the table. And then you've got Gyökeres, who, listen, maybe people will say Portuguese league tax, but he's doing it in the Champions League. He's doing it for Sweden. He is the most informed striker probably in world football, with a release clause, they're saying, of 70 million euros in the summer. I don't get why and it's almost like Arsenal are doing that thing to us again where we're just going to accept it. Why is Sesko the signing that Arteta thinks is going to win us a league title? He got 14 goals last year and he's got 10 this year. In the Bundesliga, this is a league where Timo Werner was scoring 25 goals, you know, when he was playing for Leipzig back in the day. So, like, to me, there's no excuse. You're in phase 5, bro. I expected a Sesko signing 3 years ago when we won a Tielemans and we were finishing 5th. So I don't know what it is with Arteta. It's like he doesn't want that big striker and he wants a project that he can just nurture. What's your thoughts just quickly on Sesko and the striker situation?
Bruv, how long ago did I say to you I didn't want Sesko? It was a while ago, right? Before the January transfer market had even been even spoken about. We were being linked with him in the summer. Now, look, I don't hate on Sesko. I've not seen enough of him, Curtis. I don't look at him and go, well, I've seen enough to say that he's good enough, or I've seen enough to say that he's a disaster.
Yeah.
I have to go with on form and level of excitement with a signing. I remember, you know, some of them don't work out. I remember being excited when we signed Reyes, bless him. I remember being excited when we signed Arshavin. I don't believe those two were outstanding players for Arsenal. I think they did a good job, but I don't remember getting that. So sometimes it doesn't work with that level of excitement. Yeah. But I remember being excited when we signed Aubameyang, and look at what he did. Goal, 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 goal. That's the last striker I was excited about signing. And how long ago did we sign him? Yeah. So I need to now be excited by this movement. Now, Sesko, for me, the biggest question mark I have is he ready now? Is Sesko ready to bring 30 goals to Arsenal next season in all competitions? Is Sesko ready to get 25 league goals? I don't know that he is, bruv, because he's 21 years old. So when I look at Gyökeres, who's done it now for 3 years at 26, when I look at Isak at Newcastle doing it in this league, the striker that everybody wants doing it at 26, they're the two that I want ahead of him. The reason I put Harry Kane ahead of him, and let's be real, I don't think we will get him, but the reason I would go for him ahead of him is because look what he's done for club and country for the last decade. The guy has been phenomenal. So that's the reason I want players. I don't want someone to go, oh, do you know what? Curtis, we just signed some kid. In 5 years' time, mate, he's going to be bored.
Yeah. Yeah, come on, man. Like, Dan, please.
Now, bruv.
You know what? Yeah, we're in phase 5. Yeah, we're second in the league the last 3 years in a row. And I'll be honest with you, right? Since Wenger left and Emery came in and Arteta came in, we haven't really signed a player that's made me like super hyped. I was very happy when we got Declan Rice because we had a bit of a battle with City and it felt good that we'd got one over on them. And we all know he's a very good player. Like, I remember the day we signed Oba. Every Arsenal fan will remember that. When that video came on, yo, Pierre, you want to come out here? I was like, oh my God, we've signed Aubameyang. Like, I remember being in my car when we signed Alexis Sanchez, and I loved Alexis Sanchez at Barca and Udinese. I was like beeping the horn, like, yo, we've signed Alexis. This guy's crazy. Mesut Ozil, you seen Sky Sports News? It was carnage. Like, we need a signing that makes you go, oh my God, I'm picking Arsenal on FIFA to use that player. I want his name on the back of my shirt. Kids want to be him. You need a player that does that to the whole club like you do. And I just don't think we've got that player yet. Maybe Saka is becoming that player, but go and
But again, that
sprinkle
wasn't a signing,
stardust.
was it? That like with Saka, it
Yeah,
wasn't like,
it's
wow,
come
we've got
through.
Saka. It was like, this guy's come through. He looks elite level. I'm with you. The last signings that I was doing that with was in Wenger's day. I don't
Yeah,
remember, other than maybe Declan Rice, getting seriously excited about it. And with Declan Rice, it's different because I don't think Declan Rice wins you games on his own. He's not a moments player.
no,
The last moments player we had was Aubameyang, and we're still waiting, other than Saka, for someone to come in and be signed for that moments player. So
yeah,
I think now the way to excite this fan base was to go and be breaking the bank for an Alexander Isak. It's the only realistic signing out there now. And if some are saying it's not realistic, but he's the only available striker for the right money that we could go and get to lift this fan base. Because even Gyökeres, some people are saying, I'm not. I would
yeah.
take him.
I
Sesko,
would.
likewise. Jonathan David is another one mentioned because he's free. That would not excite, you know. Nico
No,
Williams, some are saying, wouldn't excite because he's had a poor season over at Bilbao. So some of those signings, Zubimendi, good player, but does he excite us? Is he a moments player? And I think that's what we're missing right now. Saka's the closest thing we've got to a moments player, and we haven't got anything other than him. When he's out of the team, we've seen what the team like is. We're still waiting. Who is the moments player now? We can't rely on
yeah,
Odegaard consistently. We're relying on a 17-year-old after Saka. Well, that tells me everything I need to know. We need a moments player. We need a striker. We need a
definitely.
winger that's going to say, do you know what, Saka, I got you. Don't worry, I'm here. Like Sadio Mane and Salah used to do. You never
Yeah,
knew who was going to score more goals at one stage. I think they both got the joint golden boot with Aubameyang one year, didn't they? In
I
like
did. Yeah,
2017 or something. So for me,
yeah,
there's an opportunity for us to go and find that guy. And if it isn't that winger, then it has to be that striker. Because a lot of people are saying that Arsenal just need a striker. Well, I've just proven that we don't just need a striker, because I want just
because all
more
them
than a
players
striker.
you've
Right?
said.
We want,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
With me, for me, the only striker that would excite me would be Isak, and then the only one I would get half excited about, other than that, is Gyökeres. Other than that,
mm.
bro, I'm
It's
just
not a
looking
lot
at it
there.
going, wow. And I'll say this lastly, bro, and I hope this doesn't happen, but do not be surprised if Kai Havertz drops into that 8 next season if we get Sesko. Don't be surprised. This manager's done it before, and I hope I'm wrong. But, bruv, it ain't looking good. When, you know what I'm saying? Imagine having
Please
Sesko up
no.
top with Havertz behind. My God.
Oh mate, I would not be happy with that. But he won't give up on him. That's for sure. Aju said, would you take Emery back after Arteta? Nah, not for me. I like Emery, but it just didn't work.
Not only did it not work, I think as much as I believe Unai Emery is a better manager than Mikel Arteta, I think what Mikel Arteta has got right now would work better. I think if Emery was to come in, I think it would take some time to then look and build it again. I would, and it's not going to happen, but I would
No.
100% appreciate what Emery's done. And do you know what I will say? I think Emery's quite happy at Villa. He's quite
Yeah.
happy at Villa. That's for sure. And look, Arteta, he's got to get this striker right, bruv, because he's had 5 years now. He can't get somebody in. Let's say Sesko, and Sesko's, by the time we get to March this time next season, Sesko's got 6 goals. I'm sorry, he's messed it up again, hasn't he? You know, he cannot afford to get this wrong. This has to be the correct.
He's got to get it right.
Got to get it right.
He's got to get it right. Big up everyone locked in. 2,000 of you locked in. Make sure let's get 1,000 likes, people. Subscribe to Dan's channel. Subscribe to this channel. Got a few stories to get through. I ain't even started them, but we'll get through them quickly because I know you're on at 4 o'clock. So we're going to redirect to Dan for 4 o'clock. But I want to know your thoughts on this season ticket situation. Which, listen, I mean, I want today's show to be a more positive show, but we've also got to be honest, and I want people's opinions. So Arsenal are preparing to raise their ticket prices again for next season, just weeks after their financial accounts revealed a pay rise of more than £630,000 for their highest paid director. This is just the director on the board. Got 630 grand a year pay rise. Ticket prices are set to go up by 5% after an 8% rise last year, which means some tickets in the last 2 seasons have gone up nearly £150 in the space of 1 year. Now, I'm sitting here going, okay, we're in the middle of inflation and blah, 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 and we know all this, but what are you charging me as a football fan £150 a year more? What am I getting for that? Did you sign Isak in January? Did you sign the blockbuster player that's worth paying that extra money? Have you won the league in the last 3 years? Have you took me to Wembley for an FA Cup final? What are they giving the fans to say you're going to pay more to go and watch your team play? And there's this big thing going around at the moment where they're trying to stop ticket prices going up because they're saying that fans are being priced out of going to games now. Arsenal put a statement out, which I'm going to show you this statement now as well, by the way, just to show you what they said back. So Arsenal said in relation to continue competing at the highest level in all competitions and win major trophies, which I haven't seen that for a long time, mate. This requires investment in our teams in an environment where costs continue to rise. So rather than the multi-billionaire owner, he's saying the working man and woman in the street, I want an extra £150 a season from you to watch the same football you watched last season. And they're talking about win major trophies. Like, have they not watched Arsenal for the last 5 years? Like, we don't count the Community Shield. This, to me, is where Arsenal fans get it wrong. I can go online right now and tweet, I think Arteta should go. You would see 100 people respond, the pitchforks would be out, people. These owners continue to exploit the fans, turn us into customers, and nobody says anything. Now, I get it. They got 60,000 on the waiting list. So if my season ticket goes, the next guy's got it, and the next 10,000 people will take it. But surely at some stage, the fans have to say, no, we're not doing this, or protest, or do something. But what's your thoughts on this, Dan, in general? I know you go to pretty much every home game as well. So what's your thoughts on the prices going up again?
No shock, bro. They're scumbags, and they always have been scumbags, and they always will be scumbags to me. They're not my owners, mate. They're not my owners. Unfortunately, they're owners at the club that I love, and I want them out. I want them gone ASAP. I can't stand them. And I think they are absolutely... The brass neck on them is absolutely astounding. The arrogance of them is stunning. The fact that they can waltz around... Well, they don't even waltz around the place, but when they do come and visit, or they do anything whatsoever, they have the audacity to say, we better bring some more income in. Yeah, Dad, do you want that to be coming from us? No, son. Put the ticket prices up again. Get them to pay for it. I ain't doing it. I'm a billionaire.
Exactly that.
Let's get all the plumbers and all the engineers and all of the cleaners and all of the accountants and all of the workforce to go and do all that. They must be earning a hell of a lot of money. When cost of living is on the way that it is, then we've already been paying unbelievable amounts. That the way that they want to get more money into this club is to either flog more merch to us or raise the ticket prices. When they put their hand in their pocket, which they've done £200 million worth in the last 18 years, and we've got a disgraceful ownership that seem to believe the best way to bring in money is for us to do it.
Yeah.
Great businessman. Fair play. Applaud them if you want to give them a business rating. Yeah. Are you a good businessman? You can give them as much of a rating as you want, even though Vince McMahon said they were shit businessmen, right? They went viral about a decade ago or so, whenever that was. For me, scumbags. Because there are people that I know that are absolutely begging to get to games. There's people overseas that are paying thousands in terms of hotels, flights, and money for tickets to get to these games. And they're lapping it up. And they're sitting there and they're not putting anything in their pocket yet again. And there's people that are sticking up for this ownership. And it makes me angry, by the way. Yeah, this is what gets me right up my nose. There's fans that go, well, they've given us money. They've given us 750 million. Well, you think that's come from that checkbook? You think they've come out of their pocket? Oh, Mikel, I've given you 750. No, you haven't. We've paid in money for that. That 750 million that's been spent in the last 5 years has not come from Stan Kroenke or Joshua Kroenke. It's come from the self-sustaining model, which is what we're built on. That's what that money's come from. And fans still believe that this wonderful ownership has given us 700 million to Arteta. He's been backed. He's come out. He's still waiting for his 700 million to be spent. No, that's come out of a club, mate. This is how thick some of the fan base are. They think the Kroenkes have paid Arteta 750 million. Are you mad? That's come out of all of the revenue that we've got from playing in Champions League football, which was the end of their ultimate process, by the way. That essentially was where they wanted to end the process. We're now back in the Champions League. Thank God for that. Money's coming in. Stadium's full again. Merch shop is up. Get the merch out. Fill the armory. Get the waiting list up. We're fine. Done. Job done. And only 4 years ago or 5 years ago, we were outside protesting, which half of that was about COVID and the Super League, by the way. It weren't to get the ownership out because they were disappointed about the fact that we've gone 21 years without trophies. This is how mad it is. So I don't understand why there's anybody that can stick behind what this ownership are doing personally. And those that are saying, give them this summer, wait till this war chest is spent, then we can judge properly. I know what this summer's going to be. I've just predicted what this summer's going to be. There ain't no war chest being spent on that window, mate. Trust me.
No.
Half of them are release clauses of £50 million. We spend 150 million. That's not even half enough of what we need to go and win the title. So when I look at it right now, I think there's an opportunity for us to look at this seriously and say the evidence right in front of you is showing that they've put the season tickets up again. They've put more merch than I can even imagine. Yeah, the merch is actually quite cringy now. I mean, we saw last week on ours, the China vases coming out. They're sold out, by the way. Yeah. Then you've got all the kits that's come out, training kits, new blazers, new coats, baseball jackets. All of this crud that we're seeing, let's be real, that none of us actually would like to wear. Some of it is absolutely vital, if I'm honest with you now. I don't actually like some of it, yeah? So, listen, I always think, it's quite tough because the merch is so good and it's absolutely superb to watch. And do you know what? We're really good at that. It looks nice. It's hard not to get... Some of it don't look nice. That new training top looks horrible they run around in. You know what I mean? I'm not a baseball fan, but, so I wouldn't wear one of them coats. They look quite stylish, to be fair, but I ain't looking at the price and going, oh, yeah, I'll take two of them for me and my dad. They're only 160 quid each. Are you mad? £40 for a mug. £40 for a mug with a signature of some geezer called Nick Munden I've never heard of, right?
No.
What the hell do I care about all that crap for? How about just win me a bloody trophy, man? How about just win me a trophy, which you've said here, we are to continue competing at the highest level, which is what we're doing. They've got that bit right, we're competing. We ain't doing winning, but we're competing. In all competitions, which to be fair, they've got wrong because we ain't competing in the FA Cup or the League Cup. We haven't been to a final for God knows how long. And win major trophies, which is absolutely hilarious. The only win we've got is our bloody dog. That's the only thing that we've got to win, right? We haven't won for God knows how long. This requires investment in our teams, an environment where costs continue to rise. Oh, poor Kroenkes, the cost of living is hard. They're billionaires, these people, man. I don't give a damn. How can I feel sorry for billionaires? And I don't feel sorry for players, by the way, when they say, what was it? Martin Odegaard, he must be tired because he's had a baby. This guy's this guy earns millions. He's got a nanny looking after his kids. Why are we so stupid, man? Why do we think that this is their life? Oh my God, it must be a hard life. It's such a bad cost of living that we're going to have to rely on you fans to bring in some of these funds because we're struggling here and we want to win trophies. And if we don't put the season ticket prices up, we might not win stuff. Yeah. And this is what their priority are, by the way. When you go up to the Kroenkes, you have a meeting with them, right? When do you think we're going to win these trophies? Well, there's a lot more we've got to do before that. All right, like what? Win some players in. Yeah, we might have to get your help to bring players in. But what we want to do first is we want to upgrade the Emirates to get more people in so we can get more money because there's a waiting list that's crazy. We want to make sure that everything's refurbed so that we're one of the greatest around again. Well, how about we win some trophies? Yeah, that will come. That will come. But right now, we've got to upgrade. That's the priority, to upgrade this. I want to get them more merch out because we need more money. There's a cost of living crisis, and at the moment, it's really affecting us. Everything's being inflated, so we need to make sure that we're definitely a load of crap, man. Stop talking absolute waffle to the fan base and lying to them by telling us that you need to put the prices up for tickets yet again because, unfortunately, the market's going to be inflated and it's going to be very hard to continue as costs rise. Do they think we're thick? Because I'll tell you what, Curtis, half this fan base will be lapping this up, by the way. Oh, I can totally appreciate that. I understand why it's gone up because we need to compete at the highest level. They're thick, these people, man. If you're accepting this, I don't mind you getting offended by this. You are thick if you believe that this is the reason that we are needing to put the bloody tickets up because then we can afford to go and get someone in the summer and get a war chest when we'll be let down again in the summer because we'll be short again in 2 or 3 areas like we are every single year for the last 21 years since these Kroenkes have been near my club. I'm sorry, man. I'm sick of it, bro.
Nothing but facts, bro. Nothing but facts. I mean, I'm just looking there. Stan Kroenke's current net worth, 18 billion. Yeah, you want to take £150 out of a working class person's pocket who's probably grafting at work to make that money. And do you know what? I'll be totally honest with you. And this is a bit controversial. You know, as a business, how they're running the club, from their point of view, it's a masterstroke. The problem is that majority of our fan base, like you said, they'll sit there and lap it up and won't do anything about it. His wife owns, don't she own Walmart or dad owns Walmart? She's billionaire.
Yeah.
He's billionaire. He must sit there and go, yeah, I bought this club, Arsenal. I never go to any of the games. I just gave it to my son to look after it. I'm making millions of pounds off it. Put the ticket prices up every year. We don't buy the best players. We got a rookie as manager, a rookie as sporting director. We pay him a few quid to shield us, and the money just drops in on the at the end of the tax year. It's an absolute no-brainer. And when we want to get a 5 billion loan off the bank, there you go. If anything goes wrong, the bank, you can take Arsenal. I don't care. I got the LA Rams. I got the Denver Nuggets. It's a masterstroke, bro. It's an absolute masterstroke what this guy is doing. He will get the stadium expanded before he buys Isak. I'm telling you. He ain't buying no Isak. He's going to give us Sesko because that's the little pocket change in his pocket. We need Sesko. Well, no, we don't need Sesko. We need Isak. But we'll end up with Sesko, and we know it. We already know it. In my head, Isak ain't coming anywhere near Arsenal Football Club.
Agreed.
And it's because of the owners. It's not because of where we are. It's because we won't drop that 120 million. And it's sad, man. It's sad. They're just manipulating and exploiting the fans. I mean, I'm reading the stats here. Arsenal announced record revenue of £616 million this season. They did make a £17 million loss on the last financial year, but this was due to signing on fees and blah, blah, blah. But £616 million they made off revenue, off the fans, and they did not win a trophy. Imagine if they won a trophy, how much more you would want to spend money on a match day and invest in your club. So I just think it's disgraceful how they're exploiting fans. But anyway, let's get them off the screen, man. But big up to everything you said, bro. He's spitting nothing but facts there, but it's frustrating. I'm going to round up soon because I know you're on at 4 and conscious of time. Big up Shane Gooner, who's become a new member. Big up yourself. And Bo said, Kroenke's basically said, here's your trophy, pay more. Yeah, it's like a pyramid scheme. Oh, if you lot want to win a trophy, you're going to have to pay for it. You lot want a striker so much, put your hands in your pocket. Well, that's not how it's supposed to work, mate. We pay for Sky, Amazon Prime, TNT Sport, travel to your games, fill your stadium every week. Your food's not even that good. Your drink's overpriced. Your football's not that great to watch. And you don't win anything. And we don't even get a day out at Wembley. But you want us to buy a £160 jacket, a £500 China mug. It's a joke, mate. Honestly, Arsenal are like a pyramid scheme right now. It's crazy, but anyway, let's move on. Let me round up these last 2 stories before we get out of here. I mean, I tell you what, when I read this story today from Sammy Mockbell, I was like, are you backtracking here, Sammy, mate? Because a week ago,
oh no,
everyone was telling me that Berta was basically done. And, you know, Fabrizio said talks was advanced. Sammy Mockbell has actually become a bit of a mouthpiece for Arsenal. Mail Sport understands the shortlist for Arsenal's next sporting director has been whittled down to 4 candidates with a final round of discussions. Andrea Berta is among the shortlisted contenders, as is interim sporting director Jason Ayto, having impressed internally during his temporary stint in the position, even though he hasn't signed anyone, sold anyone, or given any new contracts. But they probably love him because he didn't spend any money in January. Again, all about money, right, people? The fact Ayto has been part of the process of putting together Arsenal's transfer plans ahead of the summer window is viewed as an advantage by certain figures at the club. The owners, because guess what? If you've got a guy there that don't want to spend a lot of money, or you got Berta who wants to spend a lot of money, guess who the Kroenkes are going to lean towards? Although it does say other influential individuals see merit in making an experienced and high-profile external appointment. I mean, it's not rocket science, really, is it? You've got Berta who's performed amazing things at Atletico Madrid, got them to Champions League finals and won the league, or Jason Ayto, the guy who made the coffees for Edu. I mean, it's not really a difficult choice.
I'm
if
sick of
there's
it, bro.
any truth in this, bro, I'm telling you now, if this guy Ayto gets the sporting director's job, there's going to be meltdowns if we get this clown in charge when Berta's available and wants the job. What is he panicking as here for no reason, or do you think there's any truth in this?
So, fortunately, here, Sammy Mockbell, in my opinion, is trying to cover himself by
I
saying
agree.
it's not completely agreed that Berta's on his way. There are other candidates, and right now, these are some of the options. Goodbye. So he's basically
Yeah.
not saying who's going to get the job, is he?
Yeah.
So, fortunately, I take that with a pinch of salt. What I don't like about the whole thing that he said there is that he's been part of the I mean, how many times are we going to hear this process word? The fact that Ayto has been part of a process of putting together Arsenal's transfer plans is viewed as an advantage by certain figures at the club, which is basically the Kroenke's going, this Berta could be quite good, but he's going to be more money than this Ayto guy. And if we tell everyone we're quite impressed, then what the fan base will do is they'll go along with that PR and think, wow, what did he do then? I mean, he must be unbelievable behind the scenes if they're impressed with him without even signing anyone.
Yeah.
He says that, what was the bit above there? He said, oh, have him impressed internally during his temporary stint. Now, this is laughable. This is absolutely like, how can you impress internally when you have done absolutely nothing? This is the equivalent of apprentice coming into your workplace and turning up every day on time and leaving on time. And you look towards the end of the week and think, it was a great stint with us. What have you actually achieved? Nothing, but at least I turned up.
Yeah.
Oh, we better give you the job then because you turn up. That is what they're saying. This guy has done nothing at Arsenal, and we're being told that he was influential with Edu. Oh, there was a lot that he did that you didn't notice about. Well, no one knew his name when Edu was here. So he couldn't have been influential, right? So if this guy gets the job, we know the problem and we can wipe our hands of anything to do with those absolute scumbag owners of ours because they're not serious. You bring in Berta and we have the summer that we expect under Berta and Arteta. We've got an absolutely superb opportunity to go and do something this summer. And do you know what? The fan base, the confidence at least, to go inside and say, do you know what? Fair play. We've done all we can. We've got Berta in. He's experienced. He's a right-hand man now to Mikel Arteta. If he does anything that he's done alongside Diego Simeone, we've got a chance to do really well. If we give it to Jason Ayto, that to me tells me everything I need to know about the ownership at this club. I know the problem is because I won't be looking at Mikel Arteta because the only reason I'll be looking towards him if he had a voice and a say on who he wanted. And if Arteta is the one crying out for Jason Ayto, then he's the problem. But I truly believe it's above him. And I do believe that he makes it quite clear in his interviews. It's nothing to do with me. You're going to have to speak to the club about who they want to appoint. But to be fair, I'll say this lastly. I think it is the most important position right now because you appoint a sporting director or director of football, whatever you want to call it, with a future. So I truly believe that this is the future of Arsenal right now. Not Mikel Arteta, because I don't know what long his future is. Yeah, it could be 1 more year, it could be 10 more. I don't know. But I know that the absolute must is the sporting director being right. And I think that Berta would be a guy that can come in and could see past Mikel Arteta and we see a future with Berta. And that's why I want to see this happen because he would be a great appointment. If we get Jason Ayto, it's going to be long, Curtis. I'll tell you this, bro.
Yeah, listen, like you said, I hope it's just Sammy Mockbell covering his back because he said, oh, you said it was going to be Berta now. So I hope it is just him doing that. But if you got an opportunity to get a guy like Berta, you do not get Ayto. So, and like you said, he would be at the club, you would think, for a long time. The thing is, if I'm Berta and I step into that position, I'm saying, listen, I want to get the fans on side with me quickly. So I want to make a big signing. If Berta comes in, imagine Berta came in and just signed Isak straight away because he'll know him from La Liga when he was at Sociedad and he was obviously at Atletico. So are they looking at Ayto and thinking, well, he'll just do whatever we want him to do. He's happy to be there. But listen, hopefully not. Hopefully not. I'll finish off with this story, then we'll end the show because I know you've got a show soon, so I'll redirect to you. This story came out. How much truth there is in this, I don't know. This was on ESPN. Saying that Isak's agent will meet Liverpool officials this week and Arsenal officials next week. Sources are stating the player has concerns over Mikel Arteta's lack of attacking system Isak has been impressed with the Arne Slot blueprint on the Liverpool team. I read the story. There's no actual quote. So how they would know his agents having their meetings, I don't know. But they're saying that Liverpool will offer Darwin Núñez plus cash to Newcastle. What's your thoughts on this? Do you think Liverpool... They're saying they could be looking for a striker. Do you think there's a chance he could go to Liverpool instead of Arsenal?
Yeah, I think there's a definite chance. If he wants to stay in the Premier League, he's got to decide what he believes the future of his next 5-6 years looks like. And I think Liverpool looks set to be just as competitive, if not more so, than Arsenal. And people will say, how can you say that? Salah might go, Van Dijk might go, Alisson, Trent might go. Yeah, but they might stay. And if they stay, they're ready right now to go again. That's what nobody's looked at. They're all like, oh, everyone's leaving and Liverpool got to start again.
Yeah.
Look, I'm interested to see what Arne Slot does in the summer because I don't know what sort of players he's going to go, what direction he's going to take Liverpool in, right? But he's definitely got a foundation to build from there. What I will say is that with Arsenal, he's guaranteed to play just like he is at Liverpool. But I know that there's some history there. I know that there's definite Arsenal connections. Thierry Henry is hero, all that kind of stuff. Number 14 shirt, he's dreamt of it. There's been quotes and apparently some conversations about that. But if I'm honest with you, if he was to leave, it wouldn't surprise me if he left the Premier League and went over to Barcelona. You know, you've got to remember, this guy is not a British Premier League player who wants to stay in England. This is a guy who could go anywhere in Europe and across Europe. Now, I don't know if this is true, what we're saying here, and there are actual meetings and stuff like that, because I think he could still stay at Newcastle for another season, right? But if there's any inkling that he wants to come, we absolutely have to make it happen. And I don't care if it puts us back another transfer window in the January one or in the future summer one. If that means we get Isak for 120, 150, I do not care if that puts us back one in the summer, because we wouldn't need to go and get another £100 million signing. We would have Isak and we would be scoring goals. So, yeah, I think he would look at both. Liverpool is definitely a good, attractive place for him to go and play his football. They do need a number 9, but Arsenal need one more. Because Liverpool's attack's better. They've got Núñez and Jota. They've got Gakpo. They've got Salah. They've got Diaz. They can all play across the front three, really, other than maybe a couple. But I would say, personally, it's Arsenal and Liverpool that are favourites if he stays in the Premier League. If he goes elsewhere, Barcelona, people say he can't afford it. They can't afford him. Well, we've heard that so many times and they somehow get him. So that's where I'm at with Isak. And I think it would be a brilliant signing. It would be the best signing this summer that we can make, in my opinion. But it'll be interesting to see where his head's at if he does want to stay in the Premier League. I think he'll stay at Newcastle one more, and then it'll be interesting to see what he does. Yeah, I just feel like they've got a say in this Newcastle at the moment. If he starts to run his contract down, it's different. They're like, oh, crikey, he's going to want to move here. But he's 3 years on his deal. So I feel like it's next summer that they'll be panicking. This summer, I think they'll say, look, give us another year. We're in Europe, because I think they'll get in Europe. I don't know if it'll be Champions League or Europa. I think he'll go, give us one more year and then make a decision after. And I think that's when he'll decide where he goes. So I think this season he'll stay one more year.
Yeah, which we can't wait that one more year, can we? We've got to go for somebody now. So listen, big up to you. Is it that panel debate show? I'm just doing the reader. I'm doing it now. So yeah, there we go. It's locked in. Big up to Dan for coming on. Really appreciate it. His channel's in the title. I'm going to redirect to him. He's live in about 15 minutes. What else you got coming up? You're on at 4. Is that you done for the day after that? Or?
Yeah, 4 o'clock, mate. And then tomorrow I'm dropping a show. And then that will be me. Weekend, obviously, we've got Manchester United. So yeah, come follow. Check out last night's. We've got some brilliant clips that are coming out from last night's show, man. It got very heated. As you can imagine, Lee and Christian it was that were sort of shouting Arteta in, Arteta out at each other. So they'll be dropping in the next coming days, tomorrow as well. So make sure you go check them out. I know a lot of you enjoyed that. And then, we'll be on next week with yourself, mate, if we can find a date. So, yeah, man, look forward to it.
Yeah. Just quickly, that last super chat. Hassan said, just told my landlord, trust the process. Took Klopp 4 years. #believe. Yeah. I know. They ain't waiting for their money, man. Big up to Dan. Big up everyone locked in. I'll be back tomorrow at 2:30 press conference reaction. Build up to the United game. And, I'll see you tomorrow, people. Bless.